Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Ali, and I'm here along with my team members Basil Abi, Asif Ahmed, and Ashif Deen Ajmal. And today we are here to present our group assignment, which is Sustainability and Supply Chain. And in this presentation, we are going to explore the environmental impact of air freights, particularly in relation to the transport of perishable food items. And we choose this topic because we know air freight is one of the most polluting methods of transport, uh, especially as consumer demands for exotic and out of season products rises globally. And our research reviews how supply chain strategies can reduce emissions and encourages seasonal consumptions and promote greener logistics alternatives like sea and the rail transport. And we have used a qualitative and analytical approach with the triple bottom line framework and as well as SWOT analysis to understand the balance between people, planet, and the profit. And finally, at the end, we have provided the practical recommendations and considered the future uncertainties affecting global supply chains. Now, moving to my next slide, I'm just gonna give a brief introduction. And air freight is one of the significant causes of greenhouse gas emissions, and particularly in the international transportation of the perishable fruits and the vegetables. And such a process promotes, year-round availability of fruits and the vegetables, but determinantly availability of fruits and vegetables affect the environment. So, sustainability supply chain management provides means of lowering such dependencies like local sourcing and slow modes of the transport and the consumer demands for out of season products, though most fuel such practices. And the studies also investigates whether it is the supply chain or the consumer options that are more responsible for that environmental sustainability in food logistics. So now moving to my next slide, I'm gonna discuss the research problems background. So we all know that the air freight in food logistics contributes enormously to carbon emissions which negatively affect the environment and the whole global warming system. And it can be seen that it has been growing stronger since the 1970s because of the globalization and year-out consumer demands for fresh fruits and the vegetables. And this practice is favored by large logistics companies and the aggregate exporters because of the retail pressures and the market expectations. And consumer retailers and the governments are the main stakeholders, and the environmental, economical, and more implications of the sustainability creates a crisis issues here, and like with the increasing demand for more green logistic and seasonal local consumption patterns. So this is the brief background of the problem. Then moving to the next slide. uh, Now I'm gonna present why we have chosen this topic. So we know this subject is vital since air freight used for the transportation of perishable items contribute heavily to the greenhouse gas emissions. And as per round access to the fresh food becomes more in demand, so does the air freight lines because they are directly related to each other. And this creates a critical need to evaluate how the supply chain can be changed, the sustainability. And the problem isn't just only about the logistics, but about the consumer's culture and the as well as the environmental policy as well. Uh, Reviewing this issue brings out how global behavior contributes to the global warming, and it also calls for the consideration of supply chain approaches as well as the personal responsibility. That's it. Now I will like to call Basil to continue and lead for the further information. Thank you.
Research approach taken. This research takes an analytical approach by reviewing existing literature, case studies, and sustainability reports related to global food logistics. It investigates how supply chain management strategies can reduce air freight emissions and compares this to the influence of consumer buying habits. The study combines qualitative insights from academic and industry sources to understand stakeholders' roles, the scale of the issue, and viable solutions. It aims to assess whether greener supply chain or shifts in consumer choices will drive meaningful environmental change. Data, evidence of academic research. Consistently, academic research demonstrates that air freight, particularly for fresh produce, greatly increases carbon emissions. Scholars emphasize the cost to the environment of servicing year round demand for fresh produce. Research investigates how supply chain design and demand from consumers interact and how this may be open to reform. More sustainable logistics models are under investigation, with an increasing focus on minimizing air freight reliance. This study constructs a theoretic framework for investigating actual supply chain enhancement and changing consumer expectation. Moving to the next slide, we can see evidence of management research. Management studies point to the cost of operation and the environment for employing air freight. Most companies today keep tabs on their carbon footprint, particularly from quick logistics such as air transport. Business strategies are increasingly centered around local sourcing as well as energy efficient operations. Managers have the dilemma of satisfying consumers without compromising sustainability. Such evidence affirms the operational change in the supply chain towards minimizing emissions without compromising the availability or quality of products. Moving to the next slide, we can see evidence of commercial industry research. Industry and commercial evidence indicate that air freight remains at the hub of the fresh food trade because of speed and shelf life issues. Nevertheless, companies are experimenting with greener alternatives such as sea and road transport for some products. Retailers are shifting regional sourcing model to align with the emission targets. Marketing studies indicate that environmentally friendly customers drive business decision and companies consider sustainability a competitive advantage. This aspect provides a pragmatic twist to the research and management conclusion. So let me call Asif to speak about the other slide.
Uh, Thank you, Basil, to giving me opportunity to describe about my slides. My first slide is about the theoretical framework used. The triple bottom line, that is TBL framework, evaluates sustainability by focusing on three key areas, that is people, plant, and profit. It helps assess the social impact, that is fair labor, community welfare, and environment footprint, that is like emissions, resource use, and economic performance of a business. TBL promotes a balance between environment goals, responsibility, and financial success. This approach is especially useful in logistics and supply chain planning, where decisions affect emissions, operations, and customer behavior. By using TBL, companies can prioritize long-term value over short-term gains, fostering transparency and accountability. It ensures that business strategies support not only customer demands but also ethical and environmental consideration, contribution to more sustainable and operations. And my next slide is about potential solutions and data collection. The proposed solution aims to reduce air freight emissions by encouraging slower, more environmentally sustainable transport method and promoting local sourcing of goods. By informing customers about the benefit of seasonal produce, demands for imported perishables can be reduced. Lowering the environmental impact of long distance logistics, educating the public plays a key role in shifting consumption patterns toward more sustainable choices. To further refine these strategies, future research will involve challenging both qualitative and the quantitative data through overview and survey with supply chain managers, retailers, and customers. This will help evaluate the particularly acceptance and effectiveness of proposed solutions, while also identifying emerging behavior change trends. Integrating diverse sources of evidence allows for a more grounded and actionable plan that supports emission reduce in the realistic and collaborative way. Ultimately, this comprehensive approach balances environment sustainability with consumer needs and business operations, contributing to a more responsible and reliant supply chain model. My next slide is use and quality of data. The analysis use high quality evidence from logistics, operation, market behavior, and environmental impact studies to access the sustainability of air freight. Carbon emission data clearly demonstrate its unsustainable nature, reinforcing the need of alternative transport method. Case studies from the retail and agricultural sector illustrate real-world supply chain practices and ongoing shift toward more sustainable models. Market data adds insight to consumer performance, particularly their willingness to support local and seasonal options. By integrating stakeholders' perspectives, including products, retailers, and consumer, the analysis delivers a balanced and evidence-based assessment. This approach highlights practical strategies for reducing emissions while maintaining food supply efficiency. And my next slide is about data analysis, analytical tools and possible solutions. The triple bottom line approach to use valuable sustainability by integrating environment. The subject is placed within the worldwide backdrop of commerce, food security, and demand. An absolute solution impracticable. Rather, the study invokes a range of possible choices, such as more environment-friendly logistics and demand management, while acknowledging the fluid and interrelated nature of environmental, economic, and social system. So now I invite Ashif Din Asmaldin for his slide.
Hi, my name is Ashif Dean. The next topic is future direction and actionable options. The future hold a number of avenues. In the near term, consumer behavior can be rapidly impacted through increased awareness of season eating and sourcing. Long term strategies need to promote the development of sustainable logistic network for lowering air freight emission. Digital solution can support tracking and supply route optimization on evidence, combined efforts in consumer education, and infrastructure renewal are most likely to succeed with the capability for both near term effect and reform for a sustainable food supply system. And now moving to the next slide. Yeah, the conclusion and recommendations, challenges and future recommendations. Combating the environmental footprints of air freight in the food logistics is not easy because of entrenched worldwide trading patterns, rapid consumer demand, and inadequate infrastructure for more sustainable options. Also, regulatory adjustment or hesitate infrequently consistent in the future. It suggests to implement a step-by-step approach, encouraging local and seasonable production, investing in alternative modes of transport and consumer education. This dual standard strategy in both commercially and environmentally viable without sudden dislocation. And now moving to the next slide. The next slide is uncertainty and external influences. Uncertainty characterizes all fact of the problem, future consumption patterns, technological development, international trade policies, and natural disruptions are the all subject to unpredictability. Therefore, recommendations have to be flexible instead of being fixed. Outside shocks such as pandemics or climate disaster can change priorities in one night and change what is possible or required. Although encouraging sustainable consumption and logistics is central, the strategy has to be kept on its toes in response to the global events that are still developing in the unpredictable rate. And thank you. Uh, and this is for reference of our research. That's it.